World Healing Tour movement with your host, Noah Crane. Heal yourself, heal the world.
Hey everybody, my name is Lisa Ray. I'm a literary agent and I'm working with the media team here at The Grass Grows where I am, and we are so excited to bring you a co-author experience where you will grow your brand and your visibility. Click the link below and apply now for free, and we will see you inside the pages of The Grass Grows where I am.
Hello, and welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast, where our mission is to help you heal yourself so you can heal the world. Hi, my name is Noah Crane. Each week, we will bring you tips and tools and inspire you to live your most empowered and joyful life. I'm also the author of the book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, because the grass is greenest where you are when you say so. When you choose to live in a place of no comparison, no competition, and no scarcity. When you choose to live in your own love and light and share your unique gifts with the world, because we're all unique. And that's why it's called World Healing Tour, because when you heal yourself, you truly create that space, that ripple effect in the world to help others heal as well. Each week, we bring incredible guests into studio to help pour into you and into your life and help you on your journey. I'm super excited about my guest today. Bruce Starr is an internationally known speaker, television and radio talk show host, author, as well as producer. Bruce has been a relationship coach for over 40 years, helping people in their relationships. Author of 2 incredible books, Her Teen Luv Coach and Body Traders, together with his wife Lorraine, are producing a Body and Soul EXPO on Sunday, October 26th in Palm Beach Gardens. I can't wait for that. It sounds such an incredible thing, and I want to hear all about it from Bruce. So welcome to the World Healing Tour, Bruce.
Great to be here, Noah. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've been looking forward to working with you for quite a while now.
Yeah, well, it's truly an honor, and it's really cool how, like, the more we talk with each other, we find out that our commitment is the same, to help people, to make a difference, and we're using all our creativity and all our different ideas, and you have so many ideas. You're like an idea man.
The last time we spoke on the phone, the ideas were really flowing.
I love that. I love that excitement, and because you're so about impact, and you think so much bigger than just about, a limited kind of thinking. Where did that come from?
I have such a varied background. Mm-hmm. I literally started in the entertainment industry in 1981. I don't tell too many people that. But I went out to Los Angeles in 81 after having an import-export business out of the Boston area. And I said, what am I going to do next? So when you go out to places like Los Angeles and you deal with celebrities and actors and actresses, and for me, I represented 35 stand-up comedians from the 80s, you start looking at life in a very, very different way with a lot more like forward vision and upward vision, and nothing out there is boring. So after living out there for several years. So it was
very exciting to
live out there?
Very
exciting.
So what was it like? Tell us, because I have no idea what that would be like to live in a place like that.
Let me start by saying I really miss it. And my wife, hears me say, I really loved L.A., but here's the most exciting thing. Mm-hmm. You never knew what was going to happen that next day. You got up and you never knew what was going to happen. You never knew a call you were going to get. You never know who was going to call you because you put yourself in a position to be a radiant person. Are you going to be producer?
Radiant person.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You have to radiate. You have to show a lot of enthusiasm. And the longer you're out there, nothing happens very quickly. There's no instant anything out there, no matter what people say. But when you're out there, and I remember being at home and sometimes the phone would ring at 9 o'clock. Oh, I've got to get, I was an agent. I got to get my client over to the studio. And the studio hired them to be in a sitcom. I mean, that can happen like that. And so I miss that. And that's why I love the idea of doing the Body and Soul EXPO, because I'm back in show business a bit.
I love that you have that show business background and that. So, what's most exciting about show business? Is it like bringing people together? What's most exciting that you miss about show business?
Well, I was never one to want to be in front of the camera. I'll tell you a quick story, this interesting story. When I first got out there, my good friend David Auerbach, who produced The Love Boat and really great shows, he knew that I loved the idea of being in show business, and he invited me on to a show called It's a Living to be an extra, a background person. So I was literally for like a whole several months, you'd see me in the background eating dinner or doing something. And it was exciting. It was just exciting. You never knew who you were going to meet that day. You never know what kind of celebrities. And again, I liked being in the background, but I liked watching what was happening in front of me. So I was an agent, a manager trying to produce, and I just loved the excitement. And I loved meeting people that were making the world a better place and an exciting place.
Do you feel like we have a lot of that in California?
It's in California, but you know what? It's moving out. Someone just told me yesterday, they're in Vancouver, they're in Atlanta, they're opening up studios here, and they're opening up studios in Florida. And so nothing will ever match LA. And I feel bad for kind of what's going on there now. They're having such a tough time. But when I lived there in the 80s, oh my goodness.
It's a different world.
Oh, it was so exciting.
I think Florida's the new LA.
It is.
I'm telling you.
I love
That's
Florida.
where all the healers are coming right here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's so many people in the healing fields coming here. So you've had like such an exciting life because you've been through like so many things. How has that transformed you as a person?
Well, you also go through difficult times. And for me, the reason I've done so many different things is I'd get started going over here and I'd do this for a year or 2 or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, and then a wall would come up. And I couldn't get around that wall except if I went all the way around and had to start something new. Now, a lot of people don't like starting new things. They'd rather have that watch for 35 years, and when they retire, they have that watch. That was never me. So I've run into a lot of walls. And when you run into a wall, you either say, woe is me, and you complain and you sort of moan and groan, or you say, well, what can I do now? And I wasn't all that positive when I had to make those changes, believe me. But it took me from being a Hollywood talent agent and manager to when I left LA, I joined the National Speakers Association, and I became a nationally known speaker, and I spoke on relationships. And it's just every time I can't go any further in one direction, I find another exciting way to go.
I love that, Bruce. And you know what I love too that you say is that the unknown, you get excited about it. Do you know how many people out there listening to us right now are really scared of the unknown? And you actually find it exciting.
Yeah,
which is
after
really
a while.
amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm as scared as everybody else in the beginning, but you know, when you sort of let go and let God, you know that saying, let go and let God, and not get so caught up in the fear and kind of loosen up a little bit, things happen.
Not to be so attached.
Yes.
So when did that happen to you when we were able to just let go and let God? Where did you come to that in your life?
Well, I started my path in spirituality in 1975 when I was in my 20s. And here's an interesting story. I found out that I was interested in astrology because at the time, it helped me pick up chicks. Sorry, but I was in Boston having fun, and I said, I want to learn what it takes to understand people.
That's actually very smart.
Yeah. You know, it was something to talk about other
Yes,
than...
women love that subject.
Yeah. And I never said,
It's almost as good as carrying a puppy.
Oh, well, that worked really well. We had a great dog, and, you know, we had a beautiful, attracted a lot of people. But here's the crazy thing. I lived in a place called Watertown, Massachusetts at the time. And I started getting interested in astrology, and I said, I got to find someone who can give me a reading, like Sidney Omar, these famous people. So I called them New England Astrological Society. And I said, I want a reading by Sidney Omar. I said, well, why do you want Sidney Omar? Very famous at the time. He said, we have great astrologers right here. I said, really? She said, yeah. He said, where do you live? I said, Watertown. Oh, the president of the New England Astrological Society lives in Watertown. I said, oh, really? Where? School, right off School Street. No, that's where I live. She lived a block and a half from me.
Wow, that's so cool.
And so she did my chart, and she helped me understand stuff. Like, for instance, you know, when you walk into a room, not you, but me, when I walk into a room, half the people love me and the other half the people hate me.
How do you know that?
Because they would sneer at me or, you know, have an attitude, and other people would just smile.
And you would notice that.
I noticed it, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
And so I found out that I have something, an astrological thing that's going on, she explained it to me. You know, Bruce, when you walk into a room, half the people love you and half the people are threatened by you. So I said, wow. And then we did some psychic development classes together, and that's what really got me going, where I didn't just push and shove my way through life, that I knew that there was a power out there that was greater than myself.
I love that so much. That's amazing. That's you kind of started your journey into spirituality.
Yes.
That's amazing. How has spirituality changed your life?
Well, for one huge thing, I would pick up books about what happens after people die. I got very interested in life after death or near-death experiences. And one of the things, a good buddy of ours, Lauren and I love this fellow named Danny Brinkley, who wrote the book Saved by the Light. This guy died for like a half hour. It shows he died for half an hour, and where he went, up into heaven. And he had such a brilliant mind, he came back down and wrote about it. And when he would say things like, you know, your body, you leave your body behind, but you go on. So a lot of people are so afraid to pass on, transition. They think that's it, it's done. And when I learned that there's a lot more to it than that, I lost my fear of dying and took on an excitement for living without worrying about dying.
And that's huge.
Huge.
That is huge.
Changed everything.
Because that kind of fear really does make a lot of people, it stops them in their lives from doing the things they truly want to do.
And they get into addictions to try to calm down their fears. And, you know, I was never an addictive person. And
I love that story so much. I love your stories, by the way. So I had a friend who didn't even believe in God, didn't believe in anything. And when I think she said her dad passed away, she came into the room after he was dead, and she saw the body, and she realized for the first time that he was no longer there. It was just a body. And that's the first time she realized that there is a soul and there's more to this. And that's really incredible when you can realize that you're so much more than this physical body.
Yes, absolutely. And then when you hear story after story about these near-death experiences, and you either poo-poo it and say, oh, that's ridiculous, not going to think about that, or it's like, oh, let me take that story in and let it fill me and let me understand more and more about life. Because obviously there's a lot in the world that's going on, and not just, the physical body. There's a lot more going on.
Right, and we connect to our soul. Then when we really connect into our power, would you say that?
And then the flow in life just starts.
Yes, I love flow. Hey, I always say, if it doesn't flow, let it go.
Ah, beautiful. I like
because, that. When it's meant for you, it should flow, I say, easily like water.
Yes.
It shouldn't be complicated. It should be easy. There should be a flow. Not saying that there shouldn't be challenges, right? There can always be challenges. But when you're in a flow, you're in a flow. When you're with the right people, there's a flow. It's not complicated. It's not hard. They're not trying to make your life, harder. They're trying to lift you up and make your life beautiful, and you're trying to do that for them. So those are the kind of relationships that we actually want to manifest in our lives.
And Lauren and I talk almost every day. This Body and Soul EXPO that we're doing.
Yeah, let's talk about that Body and Soul Expo.
We-
Because I know that's the exciting, really thing. That's
It's my
coming
show
up.
business here in Florida.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. So why do you see that as your show business in Florida? Let's explain it.
Because it's show business.
It's show business because you get to show.
You're putting on a show.
Yes.
And it's
yes.
either going to be a boring and dull show.
It can't be with you guys leading it. So wait, let's back up a little bit. I want to hear a little bit about your wife and how you met her.
Okay. We were both invited by the same person to a spiritual New Year's Eve party in Davie. We were both living sort of in that area back then. And this friend invited her and invited me. And, I think Lauren tells the story. She goes up to her friend, who's that guy? Who's that guy? Oh, that's Bruce. You want to meet Bruce? So we started talking, and really that's how we met. We met at a spiritual New Year's Eve party. Isn't that where you want to meet somebody?
So cool. Wow, that's amazing. So how long? So did you guys start dating right away? Did you ask her
We
out?
started dating right away, and Lauren will say we started as friends. I don't really remember that much as friends, but we were attracted to each other. And what I love about Lauren, see, I lived in Boca for 8 years, I think. And Boca is kind of famous. Don't let anybody hate me now. Boca is kind of famous for money is very important and security is very important. And when I lived here, I was a spiritual person. I wasn't a money person. And it was very hard for me to find a relationship because they would find out, they'd feel my energy, but then when they find out that I wasn't one of the wealthy people, they lost interest. And that was hurtful. And there was, nothing I could do about that. But when that happened several times, but when I met Lauren came from a totally different place. She was thrilled to meet a good person, a spiritual person, a pretty good-looking person, an outgoing person, and her father was in the entertainment industry, and she was used to being around entertainment people. I was in the entertainment industry, and it was a really good match. And then we just got stronger and stronger, and she just became someone that I could rely on, depend on. She wasn't just a pretty girl. She wasn't just such a wonderful woman, but I could rely on her. I knew she was going to be there, and that's been that way for 27 years now. We've been married 20, and we have a 21-year-old daughter who we adopted in Roatan, Honduras, and that's a whole nother show.
Yes,
we can talk about.
She's amazing. Wow, that's amazing, you guys. I'm impressed with all this. This is incredible. So you and Lauren have gotten together, and you created this Body and Soul Expo. Let's talk about what this day is going to be all about.
Okay, so let me tell you how it came about. We went to an expo, and it was like so unattended, and it was just such a shame because it's such an opportunity for people to meet each other and for attendees to learn about health and wellness. And when we left that day, we said, we could do better. And there was not a big event like that up in our area in North Palm Beach County. So we said, let's do it. And we put our heads together, and we have a beautiful friend, Derek, a 27-year-old Gen Xer, who we could not have done it without him because he's a miracle person with the web, with the internet. Lauren and I are good at what we do, but there's a lot.
Can't do it all.
No.
There's so much. I can't do half I literally don't work some days, and I have my people doing stuff for me, and I feel like I worked all day. So it makes a huge difference when you have somebody who knows what to do with automation, with connecting everything, because that's not my expertise either. So I rely on my team to do that for me.
He has made such a difference.
Yes.
He's made it all possible. And so we went from wanting to do it to telling him we wanted to do it, and he says, let's do it.
I love that.
And I would say in about 2 or 3 weeks after meeting with him, maybe daily, did we meet daily? We put this whole thing together. And then by the middle of May, we started letting the public know about it. And in 6 weeks, we sold out all the vendor space.
That's amazing. That is so
That's
cool.
how needed it was. And Lauren and I knew so many people in the health and wellness field, and we just started telling it. Lauren was a massage therapist for over 20 years, and she owned spas. And together, what a team we made. We knew so many people. We just let them know what we were doing, and this avalanche of appreciation and acceptance came right at us.
That's amazing. That is so exciting. That's the flow, right?
That's the flow.
You got the right team. You got the right people in place. All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break from our sponsor, and we're going to be right back to hear more about this incredible expo.
Hi, I'm Chris Trammell. I'm the marketing director for The Grass Grows Where I Am, and we can't wait to work with you. And if being in this anthology book would make a difference for your brand, your visibility, and your profitability, click the link below and let's get you started. Can't wait to work with you.
And we are back with Bruce Starr. This is a great conversation. I'm really enjoying it.
Me too.
Yes, and you're such an exciting, fun person. I love that, and I love how all the rejection of all these other women was just meant to be, so you could meet Lorraine.
Lauren.
Lauren, yeah, I'm saying her name wrong. All right, sorry, Lauren. So you could meet Lauren. So it's so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And even
Beautiful
listen,
story.
I'm not a young guy anymore. I mean, I'm around my daughter. She keeps me young, and Lauren has always had these beautiful home-based products that we use that makes you feel young and look. I mean, it's amazing. I've got this brown hair, and I'm up there. So it's great.
Hey, you look great.
Thank
look
you.
great.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and you know what? And I think a lot of it is that you're in a happy, stable relationships, and that makes it so much. It takes so much of the stress of life away. I believe, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
It's like every time I literally hug my husband, I feel like I'm recharging. Like I'm charging myself. Like I charge my batteries every time we hug, every time I'm with them, every time I'm around them, I'm charging, Like I continuously have my batteries charged, and so do you. So that's why I think you're also passionate about people meeting each other. Yeah. But we'll get back to the relationships. You guys, if you want to hear a great relationship talk, stay tuned because we're going to be talking about that next. So I want to hear what that expo is going to be like. Take me into a day of the expo,
So
the
exciting.
Body and Soul Expo. What is it like? Okay, starts what time?
So exciting. We're going to open up the doors at 6 for people that need to move their booths and put them together.
Okay, so 6 a.m.
Yes,
and
but at
that's on
8:30
October 26th.
Yes, Sunday. One day.
October 26th. It's a one-day thing up in
Yes.
Palm Beach Gardens at the Marriott.
At the Marriott. Beautiful Marriott. Let me tell you how that happened. We said, okay, let's find the perfect place to do this. I made one call to the Palm Beach Marriott. So, well, come on by, she said, and take a look at what we have. And we opened up the doors. It was like, oh. The place was perfect. The big ballroom and 3 breakout speaker rooms and a beautiful lobby area that we're going to overflow into. And it's just been, we said, we don't have to look any further. And it's like 6 minutes from where we live. So it's been.
I love that. That is
the
so.
flow. My
Yes,
God,
that
the
is
flow.
so perfect.
So we're going to do like a little gratitude session before the event, like at 8:30, 8:45. And then at 9 o'clock, I anticipate, like when Macy's would have those sales and people be waiting in the street in the big line. That's what I'm anticipating to come in. Yeah. And we're going to have over 60 vendors, but I mean, we are handpicking everyone. They're going to be like you. People with great skills and abilities and care for people. I mean, from, it started thinking, well, we'll have astrologers and mediums and psychics, but it's gone to energy healers. I mean, it's going to be a whole huge ballroom of the most talented, exciting, interesting people. And I'm doing podcasts with just about every one of those people that people can go to the Body and Soul EXPO YouTube page, and they can see all the people, all the vendors are going to be there. I do a podcast for each of the vendors. So by the time the event starts, all those podcasters are going to be rock stars. All the vendors are going to be rock stars because of that podcast.
Yeah, I love that.
And people are going to be there. It's going to go from 9 in the morning till 9 at night.
Wow. That's amazing. I
The
didn't know that.
vendors until 6, and then we're going to have some great evening activities, keynote speakers.
Is there going to be food there?
There'll be coffee, tea, snacks, and the hotel has
Has
a
restaurants,
beautiful restaurant and bar, like right off to the side, and it's everything.
That's awesome. That is so exciting.
And I'm going to talk about relationships. I'll be one of the speakers, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's really incredible. That's going to be amazing, and it's going to be an incredible day. And I know you're doing it from your heart, from your love, to really make a difference in the world. So that's why it's all just coming right together for you, you know?
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
in that flow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you're an author. We talked about the couple of books that you wrote and a relationship coach. And I love that so much because I love to talk about relationships and how did you get into being a relationship?
Same reason I got into astrology, to learn about myself, to learn about other people. And the big thing I used to always say, and I still say, I didn't understand when I was younger, a woman who I kind of thought I really wanted to be with, she wasn't all that interested in me. But the women I really didn't care too much about, I couldn't like shake them loose. And I was like, what is that about? And I would come to find out that unfortunately, it's not just about love, because my book, Body Traders, is really interesting.
Let's talk about that book.
Yeah.
So what does body traders mean?
So it's not a word in the dictionary yet, but I learned, especially in my experience, say here in Boca, and from the 6,000 detailed, intimate, documented conversations I had on America Online, after opening up my room, relationship coaching, I had 6,000 conversations with people online. And I learned that if you get your heart broken when you're 15, 16, 17, 18, you know, when you fall in love, you offer someone your full pie. Let's say it's an apple pie. Here, I love you. Here's my full pie. If you get your heart broken, too many people did. Either she broke up with you, he broke up with you, and it wasn't nice because you were all in. It's tough for you to ever love the same way. It just is. So when you don't give of yourself the same way, it's hard for you to get as much back because you're only giving of yourself halfway. I call that you're only offering a half pie to the next person. And so we wonder, why aren't we falling in love? Well, that's one reason is that.
Create walls.
Yeah. And then we start making other things more important than love. Financial security, sexuality, whatever it is. And when we do that, we start trading, body trading. People used to call it horse trading. If you have enough of what I want and I have enough of what you want, we can get together and see what happens. Well, to me, that's horse trading. There's no love there, right? I came up with the word body trading because if you have what I want and I can give you what you want, we're trading. That's body trading. I didn't mention anything about love there. And so I read and had too many experiences and too many conversations with people that did that. So I came up with the book Body Traders, and the second subtitle is Transforming Back from Player to Lover. Because if we don't love, we're in big trouble. And that's why I keep on. I'm married. We've been together 27 years. But I'm still there for single people because I feel bad that they might have given up on love and are alone, whether they admit they're lonely or not. I want them to have love in their lives. It helps to have self-love, also helps to love the dog and the cat, but it's really, we came here to love and be loved in return.
Yeah, we didn't come here to do this journey alone, right? We came here to do this journey with others. And so finding your significant other or somebody that you could go through life with, it makes the journey so much more, enriching.
Can't give up.
And beautiful. Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yes.
Because that's why we came. We came to love.
And to fix ourselves.
Absolutely.
So we can be better versions of ourselves.
Right. Absolutely. So then I wrote another book. And that book is going to help adults. Because after I explain to them how we're not getting it together in relationships, I say what we have to do to get back to being a lover. But I was a teacher the last several years and looking to find something for myself. And my wife said to me, go be a teacher. I said, I don't want to be a teacher. Well, go be a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher. And of course, I became a teacher. And it was...
What kind of teacher?
Well, it started being a substitute teacher because I wasn't I didn't have the degrees to be a teacher. But I ended up teaching at 2 private schools, 4th grade and 6th grade.
What did you teach?
Well, when you teach private school in 4th and 6th, you teach everything.
Wow.
So it was hard. It wasn't easy. So I never had a subject. But what I snuck in a heck of a lot was self-esteem when I taught, and self-love. And I remember at one school, kids used to walk in and they'd look down on the floor and they wouldn't look up and they wouldn't smile. And I would literally teach them how to smile. And that you're going to have a better experience when you're smiling at teachers, when you're smiling at your friends, and they're smiling at you, you're going to have a better experience. So, but the one thing that I noticed when I was teaching middle schoolers are 11, 12, 13 years old. When I was a middle schooler, boys and girls looked pretty much the same. There was girls looked just like boys,
They weren't developed.
Not developed
Okay.
when I was in that school. And, there's so many chemicals in our foods. And
Oh, yeah, they're so developed these days.
so I'd have these 12-year-olds that look like 22-year-olds.
That was my daughter. But she ate healthy, but she still looks so much older, yeah.
But they're still children with these grown-up bodies.
Their mind is still young, not developed.
Babies. They're still
Yes.
babies.
Yes.
But they would kind of get caught up because they were getting attention from the boys, and the more attention you got, the cooler you were. And I wrote a book from watching these beautiful 12 and 13-year-old girls, and I was so afraid for them because things were going to happen towards them that they just weren't ready for. So I wrote a book called Her Teen Luv Coach. I might change that title a little bit later, but Her Teen Luv Coach is about a girl, 13-year-old girl, who goes out to the park. Imagine Central Park and all the benches. And there's a guy next to her who's feeding the birds. And all these pigeons are around this guy, and she wishes she was feeding the birds. And he said, "Can I give you some bread?" And it starts like that.
Like a friendship.
Starts like a friendship. And over a period of time, she starts asking him questions about life because she had no dad, and her mom was working so hard, she was literally on her own. And kids these days, where do they get their information from? Gangs or street or whatever. That's not good. So I wrote this book just came to me. The dialogue just came to me. I just would listen and I would type as fast as I could. And it was about this spiritual guy, never said he was spiritual, at the park that would answer every one of her questions over a 5-year period of time. It was a manual to help a young girl grow up and stay out of trouble and do the right thing. And this book belongs in every library, in every household, because it's going to help millions of people eventually prevent their daughters and boys too from getting into trouble in their teen years.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have that on Audible book or not yet?
I haven't done an audio book on it yet, but
That would be really good because I feel like a lot of kids don't even read anymore. They listen to, they like to listen to things or they want quick. So if you did, some little clips
I'm gonna
out
do
from
that.
right? Some of the answers. But I think it's so creative, and the fact that I love that, it came to you, and I love that if it's a beautiful story, kids can relate
Yes.
to that, so
It wasn't
that's-
no hardcore teaching. It was this girl asking him every question that she could come up with. So it wasn't pounding anybody over the head with information. She was asking questions, and he was going, well, this and that. And she learned a lot in those 5 years.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, what do you say about today's teens? Because I feel like they're very different than other teens. First of all, they have access to so much more things. They can Google things, look things up. There's just so much at their fingertips. And then the way they communicate, the way they behave is different than I've ever behaved as a teenager. It seems like they're more promiscuous. Would you think I noticed that there's more of that? Like that, my daughter, like literally, you guys, this is gonna sound really bad, but she literally asked me my body count, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, and it's like they're talking about it, like they're
Yeah.
talking about body counts, and they see body counts as like a trophy, and I don't see it that way. I don't get that, I don't even want to think about, anything but like, who cares? Like that's a past, like, but they literally are like, it's a different language that they
Yeah.
speak. I don't know. That's how I see
The
it.
more
Do you see that at all?
experience, yeah, the more experiences they have, body count wise, their pie gets less and less in there. And that's why I wrote this book, because girls had a chance, if they waited until 16, 17, 18 years old, they had a chance to find a good relationship. And they didn't make stupid mistakes that a 12-year-old would make because they were a little smarter. You have a better chance if you just wait, because you're learning every day, you're learning every week, you're learning every month. And so the kids are too computer.
Yeah, let's talk about emotions, because what I see with my daughter a lot, and I don't know if you see that with teens, is sometimes they're not living by logic, they're living by emotions. What feels good, kind of chasing pleasure, avoiding the pain.
How old is your daughter?
She's 19.
See, my daughter's a little bit the opposite.
Yeah.
She's not connected too much to her emotions. And I find that a lot.
How old is she?
21.
Okay, but she's
She's
a
in
little older.
college.
Yeah. Was she always like that?
When she was a younger, like, less than 10, everybody loved her. She would dance and sing, and wherever she went, oh, Kenya, Kenya, Kenya. And then it changed, and it became the world became not quite as friendly a place. And then that's when they turn, it's just like in dating. That's when you turn to the computer for your joy and your comfort. But we didn't do that when we were younger. We had to deal with our, the way I look at it? I look at the love songs from each decade. And the love songs that came out in the 60s and 70s, like, wow. I mean, those people.
Yes.
It's
heart and soul.
Yeah.
When you listen to their songs, what is it? It's rap, and it's like, I banged her and I did this, and it's like, I'm thinking to myself, like, are their kids going to be listening to this stuff? Are they going to still listen to this music when they're in their 20s and 30s? Because that is such self-destructive music. I think you're hitting a really good point.
And I hate to say this, I don't like to be negative or anything, but there's a good possibility that some of these generations are going to be, a lot more troubled than others and a little bit lost in space.
Yeah. But at the same time, they also have, like, my daughter learned about God watching TikToks. So I feel like they also have the access to excel themselves in a way that we couldn't have before. It might have taken us a lot longer to grow up or to learn certain things that now they have access to. They hear people talking about God, about spirituality, about things that might have taken us a lot longer to get to. And she's also getting that. So there's like, I feel like there's
a dichotomy.
Both, yeah.
There's both at the same
Yeah.
time, and that's
Yeah.
troubling.
Yeah.
Because they're both so distant and so far-reaching. The kids these days, I first noticed this when I was growing up. When I got home from school, my mom was there. She was there. She had something to eat for me. She was there. Then that next slight generation after that, which they called the latchkey kids, the mother had to go out and get a job. And they were both working. And that kid, when he came home, and he opened up that door, and there was nobody home, they didn't know how good we had it when mom was there, but they had to deal with an empty house or an empty apartment. And I noticed then that things were really changing, and that I said to myself, you know, politicians, they're going to not come from mom at home. They're not going to be as heartfelt about life. And it's coming very true. The people that seem to be in, say, politics now are not necessarily there for we the people. They're there for themselves. It's a colder word. I'm sure there were people then that were cold and self-directed.
Now we see more of it,
Now we see
especially with the you know, and there's a lot of self-sabotage, and it's not just for teens, it's adults too. And there's a lot of self-sabotage, and it's part of working on ourselves so we can see a bigger picture, so we don't self-sabotage ourselves, which is so easy to do, you know.
So when you talk about, I'm really stumped when you talk about what is the answer. How I'm stumped because I can tell you what I've seen and how to help people that I'm aware of their situation, but I don't know. It's like my wife and I, our daughter, she stays in her room a lot, and we see her from time to time, and we say, well, what do we do? Well, I don't know what we do. And here,
Yeah.
I'm a relationship coach. She's a beautiful mom.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do.
Yeah, we don't have all the answers, and we have to give them the space to grow.
Exactly.
But let's talk about going back to the basic. Okay, and the basic is going back to whole foods, right? Going back to, you know, finding our own time, learning to love ourselves.
Yes.
And right back to what you're doing now with the Holistic Expo, right? Because it's back to basic, back to yourself. It's almost like coming home.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure that's why, because healing doesn't happen in the outside world. It happens when you can come together with other like-minded people that are bringing the healing together.
That's going to be the big shift. Because for a lot of different generations, you look for healing and for love outside yourself. And what I'm hearing and the information I'm getting is the big healing is all going to start here and then go out. Not, oh, I need this to heal. I need you to heal. I need that to heal. I need this drug. I need that drink. I need that guy, that girl.
Yeah, shiny objects, you know?
It's-
Like you're always chasing something else. You're always trying something else instead of like connecting to yourself. And I believe with this expo and the people you surround yourself with, you're taking them back to the basics.
Yes.
Which is mind, body, soul, connection with others,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
Love, peace,
Kindness.
happiness, health, wellness. Those are all under the umbrella of what you're bringing.
Right. And that's why Lauren and I feel so good about what we're doing. Because, listen, it was great to be in show business and to work with comedians, but my goodness, show business for health and wellness? Oh, hello.
Yeah, that's
I'm there.
because that's impact. That's impact. It's not just a fluff and just about yourself. It's about now you're thinking about others. Now you're thinking about how can I pull more people up with me so they can succeed. And that's the realness of what you're doing. It's not about just, you know, what's in it for me, because you're looking more at the bigger picture. Would
And-
you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope people will take the time to go to our beautiful website that Derek designed and did such a great job. Body and Soul EXPO.org. Body A-N-D Soul EXPO.org.
So look into the camera and tell them where they're going to go to. Do they have to purchase a ticket?
Well, actually, that if you want to just meander around with all the vendors, it's going to be free. Maybe the week or so before we may charge a minimal amount of money, but it's free to visit the vendors. But every vendor is going to have a chance to speak. We're going to have 3 breakout rooms for speakers. All day long, we'll have speakers. And For $10 or $15, you can have access to all the speakers all day long. So we're making it very affordable. We're making it very easy for people to take advantage of. This is going to be the biggest event since Woodstock. It's going to be the biggest loving since Woodstock. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I love that. I love your excitement.
Thank you.
And that already is going to make it the best because you said so. You just declared it.
It's going to be the best.
And so I can't see it not being the best, you know? It's amazing.
Yep.
So what else do you want people to know about you, or what kind of lasting impact? What do you see for your future? Like what's the legacy? What's the impact? Like what do you see? Okay, you do this amazing expo. What's next for you? Like
So
where do you see it going?
We've had such wonderful reception, and having Derek, he's automated this expo for us. So we're like, we can do more. And he's like, all we have to do is cut and paste to the next one.
I agree.
Because most of it's done.
Yes.
And
I
so
agree.
we're not only going to do another Body and Soul Expo in the spring, but just in the last day, because I said to my wife, what am I going to do for the next 2 or 3 months? All the booths are sold, and we won't be able to sell any for another 6. What are we going to do? And I said, let's do another event. Let's do a Body and Soul for women. Women's needs.
Nice.
And so in the beginning of February, we're going to do Women's Body and Soul Expo. And we're going to have incredible people there to serve all the women's needs. And it's very different than Body and Soul, just, health and wellness. It could be a lot of other things that women will be able to find at an expo like that. So right now we're looking at every 3 months to have an expo. And then I'm working with people to get my book out there, because I want people to take advantage of something that's already written, that's going to help families, that's going to help singles who are miserable, they're alone and lonely. And we've been together 27 years, and my wife even said, "What are you so worried about helping singles?" I am. I don't want women. Men can always find a girlfriend, it seems like, but women's are tougher, and I want women to be able to have a strong relationship in their life as they get a little bit older.
No, that's really beautiful. And I have so many single friends that need to find their
What did we say we're going to do?
Yeah, we're going to do some kind of a dating thing together.
Speed dating.
Yeah, speed dating.
That can lead to a weekend of you and I doing seminars for people. I'm just as excited about that as an expo.
You never know, right? I mean, we're open to make a difference.
We want to help people.
Yes, I agree.
And you
That's
come
what
from a
it's all
strong marriage background. I come from a strong marriage background. I've been studying relationships. You've been studying relationships. And one of the things that single people want to see is, have you been successful? Because when I wasn't married, when I was single, they'd say, are you married? And I'd say, well, I'm not married, but, and I'd have to go through this whole song and dance. But when the respect that they have for people that have been married and in a relationship for a long time, they want that. And they want to know,
Is it possible, right?
how it can be done.
So I want you to look into the camera and give them your best relationship advice.
There's a lot of things that you have to do, but one is that you have to let go of all, it's good to write down a list of things to do and what you want of someone, and maybe put 100 things on there. But it's rough when you put too many artificial demands before love and kindness. That's the biggest mistake I see.
What are artificial demands to you?
They have to have money. They have to have a great body. They have to have, the sex has to be good. They have to drive a certain car. They have to live in a certain neighborhood. They have to have a boat. And if they have those, and listen, it sounds terrible, right? But lots of people that talk that way. And I know a lot of people that talk that way. And it's gotten so ingrained into our society that there's hardly ever a person alive that I don't hear them say, "But do they have money? Do they have money?
So you got to look deeper.
Much, because that's not where love is. You can't buy love.
So what are we looking for? A soul connection?
You have to get rid of the surfacey things. And it's great. I'm not saying a rich guy or a sexy girl is not good. I'm not saying that. But don't put it first. Put kindness first. If I could teach one thing, if someone is kind, you're so ahead of the game. And then you build and see if that's going to work. Believe me, trust me, I was the worst one that said, hey, listen, she's got to be great looking and she has to be, fun in bed. And then I'll try to get to know her, make sure she's the right one. It never worked. Hello, it didn't work. And I tried for years. You have to, when something doesn't work, you have to be willing to shift and look inside and deeper for love. You can't just love someone. You can't just do something unless you have something first. If you don't have self-love, you have nothing to give to somebody. Right. So that's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah.
You got to learn to love yourself. You're God's child. God wants you to have everything. You do have everything, but you have to acknowledge it and accept it. I remember there was times in my life where, I'm not good enough. No, you're God's child. You're worthy of everything. But you have to get out of your own way when you think you're not, because that's really where the magic is. You have to know you're deserving.
I love that. Oh my God. So when I was walking down the aisle and I was marrying my husband, I knew that I was marrying the most wonderful man in the world. Not just that he loved me, but the kind of person that he was, right? Kind, compassionate, loving. And I was so proud that I was marrying this amazing human being. Not just that he's good to me, but he's just a beautiful person, And I wanted that, somebody who doesn't see anybody above them, anybody below them, sees everybody's equal. My husband's a dentist, but if he had to flip pizzas tomorrow, he would do it with a smile on his face, So, or sweep, in a McDonald's, sweep the floor, but he would do it. Like he would do what he has to do to support his family. And again, he loves everybody. There's no judgment. There's just love and kindness. And I live every day. I literally live every day. I've been married to him for 29 years. I live every day with love and happiness. And somebody that just adores me, I always say, find a man who adores you.
That helps.
If he adores you now, he'll adore you 30 years from now. But adore, right? Somebody who adores you, not just loves you, because love and hate could have a very fine line between them. But when somebody adores you, it's so much deeper. It's like the way a mom loves her child, right? It's a deep admiration for someone. So that's my 2 cents on that. But I love your advice, and I think yes,
kind.
Yes, love and kindness.
If someone is kind, that is such an umbrella.
Yes, and if they're heart-centered, right? They're kind to other people. They're heart-centered, right? They're not out to hurt anybody else.
Exactly. And you need someone who has your back, not in an artificial way, but you just need someone who's on your team.
Yeah. Always, yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yes. I always say you need to marry someone that, he's a soft place to fall. Because the world can be so hard, but then when you have that partner where you can fall, you have that soft place, they're always going to catch you when you fall. That makes it so great.
And I thank God I found that.
You're so blessed.
Yeah,
you're both so blessed.
And we have a beautiful daughter. We have a beautiful family. We had a beautiful dog who passed away last year. So it was the 4 of us, and we were very, very happy. And when I was out in show business, I needed to be powerful. I needed to be famous, and
Now you do it your way. I love that. So one more time, look into the camera. Where can people find you, connect with you, come to your expo?
Please, October 26th, Sunday, put it on your calendar, up at the Palm Beach Gardens Marriott. It's going to be an all-day affair. You'll want to be there from 9 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. And a lot of people are staying at they're staying at the hotel and getting a room at the hotel because they may need to take a nap at some point in the afternoon, because we're going to go from 9 in the morning until 9 at night. It's going to be very, very exciting. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share.
You don't want to miss that. So thank you, Bruce. It was an honor to have you on the podcast.
Honor to be here.
And there's so much great stuff we're sharing here with everyone. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I want to thank you today for joining me on the World Healing Tour podcast. Until next time, remember to practice these 3 important elements. Number 1, every day remember to have a grateful heart and connect to your gratitude. When you connect to your gratitude, you are connected to positive feelings and positive emotions, and therefore drawing more positive people, things, and experiences into your life. Number 2, remember to every day ground in love and compassion. First, love and compassion for yourself, and then share that love and compassion with others. We all want more love and compassion in our own lives, so why don't we share it freely with others? So make sure you spread that love and compassion so you can have an abundance of love and compassion in return. And number 3, remember every day that you're not alone. This is a guided journey. I say guided by God, but whether it's God for you, universe, higher power, whatever it is for you, just know that you're not alone. You're always guided when you take the moment to listen to the guidance of the God, of the universe, of whatever it is. Until next time, my friends, have a beautiful week. Namaste. Hi, this is Noah Crane. I'm excited to share this anthology book with you, The Grass Grows Where I Am. So just join us and be a part of this incredible book to help bring your message and influence into the world. We're excited to showcase what you do to make this world better. Click the link below. The World Healing Tour Movement with your host, Noah Crane. Heal yourself, heal the world.